My 29 male wife 32 female and I both cheated. I'm objectively the bigger AITA, but we're trying to reconcile. In MC, but looking to Reddit for more advice. This all came to light 2 weeks ago. We've gone to marriage counseling twice since and we're doing okay, but it's still been rough. Lots of ups and downs, talking, expressing our emotions, and figuring out how to move on. We both agreed that divorce is our last resort and we want to stay together. We're trying to navigate reconciliation and forgiveness. We've been together for 8 years, married for 5. We have a young daughter and our marriage is overall a happy one. So I'll start with me. 2 years ago, I went out with some coworkers for happy hour. Long story short, we ended up having a few drinks and I ended up having with a female coworker in the bathroom. Details don't really matter, but she made a move, started kissing me, took my hand and dragged me to the bathroom where I proceeded to cheat on my wife, who was at home with our daughter. At the time, of course, I knew what I was doing was terrible, but I did it anyway. Afterward, I could hardly look my wife in the eye. I cut all contact with this girl immediately and decided I would never do anything like that again. I trickle-truthed my wife and told her a girl had kissed me. She asked if anything else had happened, and I said no. That was it. I decided to take it to the grave, wallow in the suffering and guilt, and not allow myself to relieve myself of the guilt and hurt her by telling her. I decided to focus on being the best husband and father I could be and never allow myself an opportunity to do that again. Now, my wife. Some background. I met her in class in college. I was 21, she was 24. She had a boyfriend of 6 years at the time. We started out as just study buddies and worked on some projects for class together. About a month after I met her, she tells me her boyfriend broke up with her. Shortly after that, we started to have. I was her rebound/breakup therapy, and I was totally okay with it. They were still living together at the time, but I thought whatever, we're just FWB. A few weeks went by and I started developing feelings for her. 21-year-old me asked her to be my girlfriend before her ex had even moved out of the house. She said yes, and we were then BF/GF. About 2 weeks later, her ex finally moved out of the house. Her cheating occurred 2 weeks after that, so 1 month after we had the girlfriend/boyfriend talk. The night she cheated on me, she didn't answer her phone for several hours. At about 10 p.m., she calls me to tell me she's sorry, that she left her phone in the car. She was at her friend's house studying for a test. A few months go by, and that night stuck out in my head as a strange one. I finally got her to admit that she had gone over to her ex's house to talk, as he asked her to come over and have a discussion about where they stood, etc. She said she fell asleep on the couch and drove home in the morning. I pressed her on this occasionally for years, as it just didn't seem right. She always swore nothing happened, and she told him that nothing would happen, that she was going over there just as a friend to talk and help him move on. Eventually, I decided I was being crazy and dropped it. Fast forward 7.5 years to 2 weeks ago. That night popped into my head, and I pressed her again that if she cheated that night, to just come clean because I deserved the truth. This time, she broke down and confessed that she did end up having with him that night and it was the last time. I believe her. Why? I clearly remember the night and the week that followed. The following night, we were hanging out and her ex called while I was there. I told her she needed to answer and tell him that she and I were together. So she did. He asked if we had been having. She said yes, and he lost it. He ended up getting very violent toward her that week, making threatening phone calls, and she got a restraining order against him immediately. So yay. I know for a fact that was the last time. After she told me this, I confessed to her that it wasn't just a kiss at happy hour, and that I had with that girl in the bathroom. Obviously, she was crushed. We both were. We both sat and cried for a bit, naturally got a bit angry, and we went back and forth for a few days before our first marriage counseling session. Listen, I know I'm objectively the bigger AITA here. I cheated on my wife with a baby at home. Pos, I know it. Remind me in the comments if you feel like it. She's working to forgive me, and I'm working to forgive her. The issue I have with her isn't so much it's the lying. She lied to me about that night for many years, through a proposal and engagement, a wedding, and a birth of a child. I lied too, and we both give the same reason, that we didn't want to hurt the other person, and we were also afraid that we would end the relationship over something that we vowed to ourselves to never do again. My cheating was a careless ONS with no regard for my marriage, my family, or my commitment to them. I was an AE with no integrity, I know it. Her cheating, as she says, was an act of confusion, fresh out of a 6-year relationship, and had many unresolved feelings. Someone told me this could be classified as transitional cheating. Wife told me she did agree to be my girlfriend, but truly wasn't ready. She said she should have waited and took time to herself. From the time they broke up to the time she cheated on me was just over 2 months. However, it was still technically cheating, and she did lie to me about it. The same I did to her. So here we are. Our marriage counselor has been awesome. She knows everything and is helping us work it out. We're also beginning individual therapy next week. My wife said she can forgive me, and she wants me to forgive her. I'm optimistic that we can work through it all, but I wanted to see if Reddit had any advice. Yay, we're it up. Yay, we may have a long road ahead of us, and yes, I should be burned at the stake. But we want to be with each other. Like we told our counselor, if we could take a magic wand and erase these 2 incidents plus the lying, we'd have a pretty much perfect marriage. Any tips for moving on, or perspective on how we can make sense of everything and let go? Thank you in advance. Story 2. My 27F husband, 30M, says we have no life. Tonight, at 1 a.m., my husband asked me wanna do it. After I have repeatedly, in the most respectful, explanatory ways, told him I want him to come on to me in a desirable way, to turn me on. I should also add he asked this directly after a conversation about me having constant nightmares, the past few days plus working, leading to me being so tired. I said no, because I am exhausted. I have my own business and I worked all day. He then said, we have no life. I'd been counting, we've had 5 times in the last 2 months. Yet 2 nights ago I gave him I mentioned thee and he said sarcastically yet, it was great for the 4 minutes it lasted. I was crying on and off at this point due to some other things he said. Everyone warned me this is what happens when you get married, you've changed and more. I was beginning to get really upset and tried to explain to him yes I changed, because I went through the biggest trauma of my life a year and a half ago, yes I'm in therapy, have been since January. He just kept on, and got angry at me for fighting with him. He said he's been talking to a doctor online. There was also a point where he said I just want you to want me like I want you, to which I responded, I do want you, only to be cut off by him yelling, not like Jay want you. Which is completely untrue, I'm tired. I work nonstop, and yes it's necessary or else we would be living paycheck to 2 days before paycheck most weeks. We also have 3 children, one of whom is 1/2, and she's here with me all day while I am working. I also dinner and clean, he cleans as well. But I feel as if I am screaming and no one hears me. I've told him how to approach me and he said tonight, you used to be so different. Now you expect me to go above and beyond. By this he means, he used to say hey wanna effing, and I would before last baby, and now I simply expect him to kiss me and love on me leading to, which I guess is above and beyond. I don't even know how to handle this situation. I don't know if I'm in the wrong. I have typed this out as unbiased as I can for advice sake. What do I do from here?